He's rubbish.
And he's rage.
It's rubbish and rage.
It's just rubbish.
Okay, so today we're going to be doing something completely different to what we usually do. No jokes, none of that junk, you know. Maybe we'll laugh at Ryan a few times. Everybody likes to laugh at Ryan. I mean, you know, he's just such a funny guy. That's the word you could use for it. Anyway, so I know we've done an educational video in the past on a certain game. Didn't go particularly well, but this time it's going to be different. We're going to be taking this seriously. I'm going to be teaching you about like pooters and stuff, and like well, in this case, web development. Web development isn't my field. I'm a software developer guy, but I know a lot about web development as well. It's just not my preference. So web development, we're gonna start off by teaching HTML. This is gonna be educational for Ryan as well because he doesn't know anything about computers, and that's just that's just glorious. Just watching him trying to use one. He like gets out a hammer and like a spanner and everything. He starts whacking the computer, and he just nothing happens. He just breaks stuff. There's pieces flying everywhere. A bit went in my mouth. But that's another story for another time. So anyway, I'm going to be teaching there's three main parts to web development, or front-end web development, which is basically what you can see, what the person on the website can see. There's three parts. There's HTML, there's CSS, and there is JavaScript. HTML is the one I'm going to be teaching today. It stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It basically means where everything is on the page. So like imagine I trashed this room and then went around and just labeled everything where it should go, and then somebody comes in and puts it where it's meant to go. That's what HTML is. The other one was CSS. That's cascading style sheets. That's like basically what the color of everything is, like the color, the size. If it flashes pretty lights. That'll be taught after this. And the other one is JavaScript, which is basically how things behave. So for instance, if I've got a big button here, will it make a giant fist come out and punch Ryan in the face? Maybe, who knows? I might put that in there. But today we're going to be learning HTML. It's the easiest part. It's one of the easiest things you can possibly learn in anything remotely related to programming. Technically, it isn't programming. It's called a markup language, not a programming language, because basically you're marking things, markup language. You're marking things, or in their terminology, you're tagging things. So I'll give you a prime example on here at the moment. I've got dual monitors going on here, so I might get a bit confused, but you should only be able to see this one, hopefully. So anyway, here's a typical one. B, Ryan is ugly. B. So we have here two prime. Can I zoom in on Notepad? No, I can't. I'll zoom in. I'll zoom on the footage. I'll probably put it in giant text or something. You get the idea. So first off, we have these two tags. This thing here, the B. And there's the other one, I'll put spaces here to make it more clear. So this B here, basically it means bold. So everything between these two things are tags. Everything between these two things will be made bold. That's literally, I'll show you, you can actually make a web page just using Notepad. Right now I'm using Notepad, if you just open up, or if you're on Windows, if you just open up, just type in Notepad if you can't find it. Notepad, there it is. So basically you just open up Notepad, type this junk in, as I tell you to. So, as you can see, I've got these two angled brackets. Basically, whenever you have that, you can put like whatever there. That is an HTML tag. So basically, you're tagging stuff using these things. When you put these two little angled brackets, you're saying that's a tag. So that's a tag. That's an empty tag. It doesn't do anything. This tag with the B means bold. That's the most basic tag I can think of that you can put into practice. So the first tag will always be whatever the tag name is. For instance, B for bold, and the second one will always have this backslash here to say it's the end tag. So you've got a start tag and an end tag. So you tag the start saying this is the start of where I want everything to be bold, and this one with the slash, you're saying this is the end of where I want everything to be bold. So everything in between those two things will now be bold. I'll save that actually. I'll save that as what should we save it as? Should we save it as Ryan sucks.html? So when you're saving this, pay attention to what I'm doing here. I put .html at the end, and I've also gone to save as type and changed it to all files. If you're using something like Notepad++, you can just change it to save as type. There's probably an HTML in there. I believe there is. I'm not using that because not everybody has Notepad++. So anyway, I'm going to save that. Ryan sucks.html. Which desktop did it put it on? Hopefully this one. There we go. And if I now open Ryan sucks.html, there we go. This is it. It was Ryan sucks.html. So basically what you'll notice here as well is I've got the .html. If you've been on websites before, but on the websites you've been before, you'll notice that at the end of this thing going across the top here. I don't know why I'm pointing like you can see what I'm pointing at. This thing going across the top here, that's the URL. I'm not going to explain that stuff today. Anyway, that's the URL. That's basically the website you're going to. And this bit at the end here, that's the file you're trying to ask the website to look at. So when you say ryansucks.html or home.html, index.html, whatever you want to call it .html, you're saying, hey, guy running the website, send me that file so I can look at it. So what this is doing is saying, right, hey, Ben's desktop in this case, Ben's desktop in this case, send me the file that says it's called ryansucks.html. That's basically, when you see that .html at the end, it's no different to like a .exe or a .png or a .jpeg. It's literally just the type of file. In this case, it's an HTML file. So what we're doing here is requesting ryansucks.html. And it's getting that file, and it's reading this, and it's translating it. So it's what it says to do. So basically, the .html file says, make Ryan is ugly in bold. And as a result, it's put it in bold for us. I mean, how handy is that? That's pretty damn handy, if you ask me. So yeah, that's the very basic idea of what HTML is. I'll now go through, of course, the basic format for everything, or how everything's handled, how everything looks normally when you're doing it professionally. So usually when you start a page, I don't know how much detail to go into. I haven't planned any of this, by the way. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. And I'll skip the complicated part. I'll get the basic design. This isn't 100% how you should do it. I'll explain in later videos how you should do it. But for this particular video, I will explain simply this is the most basic layout you can possibly get, really. So the first thing you'll start off with are these tags. For formatting, people usually put things over multiple lines like this. So I've got these two tags, and that means so it works over multiple lines. So everything, it's not just going left to right, it goes down as well. So everything between this top HTML tag and this bottom HTML tag is basically saying, it means everything in between those 2 points. So even if I go, that means apply these tags to everything in between them. So it's multiple lines. It's pretty fun. It's pretty easy. It's pretty simple and straightforward, really. So what these tags mean is HTML tags is basically there's other things than HTML that a website can possibly use. They're very rarely used. You wouldn't, if you use them, you're probably stupid or just really advanced. In this case, we're using HTML. So what this means is when your browser, like Chrome or Firefox or Opera or Internet Explorer, if you're a complete moron, picks up this file, it will first read this first line. It will say HTML. Got it. So everything from now on is going to be in HTML. That's how I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. You know, it's like basically saying what language to read it in. You know, if I put like French, it would then sort of say, that means everything after this is going to be in French. So I'll pretend I'm a French guy that's reading in French. That's basically what this tag is saying. It's saying everything between these two tags is written in HTML. Everything outside of it is not written in HTML, and it's something else, and I should treat it differently. So that's basically what I was doing. That's, you know, you don't need to know anything about this. Every website you make, put these in. There's nothing more to it, really. There's a bit more, but again, I'll go into more detail later when you understand this more. The other essential tag, there is another tag that you would normally put in here called a head tag, but I'm going to leave that out just for now. At the moment, I'm going to put in these other key tags here, the body tags. So basically, there's two main parts to a website. There's some others, but these are the two main ones. There's a head and there's a body. The head can't be seen on the website. The head is like it's for things like Google. When Google are trying to figure out what information, you know when you go on Google and it has like the name of the website and then it has like a little description of the website? Google didn't write that. The websites made it. And it usually appears in things like the head of the HTML. So you can't see it, but other things can see it. It's like for documenting it across websites, like putting keywords for search engines. It's not actually on the website. That's more advanced HTML. I'll go into that in later videos. The key part here, though, is the body. So what we have here, so you'll also notice I've put tags within tags. You can do that. That's very key. You will be doing this a lot. Tags go within tags. Usually when people are writing, they like to format it so it's like this to sort of show, you know, these ones are inside the HTML ones. It's purely up to you, because a lot of the time websites are written dynamically and all that just goes out the window. But if you're, for now, you might want to format it like that just to help yourself. So usually it's 4 spaces you go in. But how much did I put? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I missed 2. Yeah, usually people go in 4 spaces. Anyway, the body. So anything that's in the body is everything that will appear on the page. It's basically, it's the body of the page. So if you imagine you've got your little website there, there's all the stuff, you can see all the stuff on the website, and then you've got your head, what you can't see here, and then the body's all the stuff you can see underneath it. So yeah, this is, again, nothing more complex than that. The HTML and the body tags, always put those on your website. Put them exactly as I've done them. They are essential to web development. Just leave it like that. It's after this part, it's after you've done this, that you can start changing things up, really. So the first tag I'm going to show you, which basic tag you can get, the paragraph tag, P for paragraph. You can actually remove that. You can just write text in like that. I will show you that actually. So let's put Yahoo sucks. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll get rid of the space because it's a bit ugly for me. So there's our page, and if I refresh this now, it says Yahoo sucks. It's no longer bold because I got rid of the bold tags. So basically what has happened here is the browser, Chrome in my case, has gone through, it's read, okay, so this is an HTML, got it. And then it goes down to the next line, it's like, okay, so we're in HTML and this is the body of the HTML. So basically it now says everything after this tag, after the body tag, needs to be placed on the page. So now it's gone down to Yahoo sucks, and it's been like, okay, so Yahoo sucks needs to go on the page. There's no tags around it, so there's nothing I need to do with it. And then it reaches this and says, so that's the end of the body, I don't need to worry about the body anymore. And then it reaches this tag, and it's like, that's the end of the HTML, and then more HTML. And then it reaches the end of the file, and it's like, done. Show it to the user. That's literally all that's happening in this. You can do it this way, with the way I've done it, just put the text plain in there. But for formatting reasons, which will become more clear later on, for like sectioning things up and ordering them correctly, the common thing you would do for normal text like this is use a paragraph tag, which is this. I don't believe it will change anything when I reset this. No, it looks exactly the same. But when you've got other things around it, it will make a lot more sense. For instance, actually, I can show that right now. If I do out these tags and I put on the other sign, wave in the air, and I save that. As you can see, even though I've put it on a new line, even though I've put it on a new line on the HTML, it has actually appeared on the same line on this piece on the website. Why am I using my hand? It's actually appeared. So even though I've put wave in the air on the second line on the HTML, it's appeared on the same line on the actual website. There's one horrible, ugly way you can get around this, which is using something called a line break. I'm not going to teach those here because they're considered bad now. They used to be common, but now they're considered bad. The proper way you would do this now is using paragraph tags. So I would say Yahoo sucks is one paragraph, and then wave in the air is another paragraph, like so. If I save that, refresh that, now you can see they've gone into different lines. You'll notice there's quite a big gap between. There's quite a big gap here, like between these lines. That's something you can alter later using that CSS thing, which is describing like how everything should look as opposed to where it should be placed. I will get into that in much more detail later, but right here it's not relevant. So what's happening here is it's going. At the start, we're going, okay, we're in the HTML, so everything from here is HTML, like before, and then it goes to the body and says, okay, and this is the body of the HTML, and then it gets to here, and it says, so this bit's a paragraph, so I'll write it out as Yahoo sucks, and then it gets to the end, it's like, that's the end of the paragraph, okay, so now we can leave that. And then it hits this, and it goes, now this is a different paragraph, but it's another paragraph, but it's different to the previous paragraph, so I'll put it on a new line. You don't need to think about this part, not really, the computer does it for you. That's the key part here. This is one of the key things with HTML is you don't have to like move everything around with your hands. You just tell the computer how you want it arranged and the computer will arrange it for you. So you're saying, I want one paragraph here and I want a second paragraph here. And the computer's like, right, got it, I'll do that for you. You're literally just tagging things and telling them how, telling the computer what to do with them. Again, like labeling boxes full of your clothes or whatever, or like things you want to put in bedrooms and stuff. You're labeling those boxes saying which rooms to go into. You're giving them to the deliveryman, and the deliverymen are taking them to the house and sort of reading the labels, and then they're doing all the work and moving the boxes around for you. The browser is like the delivery man, and you're the one writing the labels. That's the very basics of HTML. One other thing I'll quickly show you is because there's lots of tags. This is what you're looking at here is like HTML. It doesn't get much more complicated than this. Everything is tags. This is the very core of HTML. Everything is tags. But what you need to learn is all the different types of tag. So I'll teach you one more today, and that's the H1 tag, which is I'll put my first website. So yes, you know something, start tag and end tag, just as always, putting the backward slash to say it's an end tag, or forward slash to say it's an end tag, sorry. So you're saying my first website. Let's see what happens when I do this one. Bam, massive writing. So what this is it's H1 means header 1. You also get header 2 and header 3 all the way down to header 6. Basically header 1 is like sort of the one you'd have the big one at the top of your website. Header 2 is when you'd have like sort of a subtitle. Header 2 would be like the subtitle. And it all changes in size. The key thing to note here is that headers are not created solely to have big writing. In CSS, you can make you can change the size of the writing, so you can make your headers the same size as your paragraphs, and yeah, you know, that would make it completely pointless, wouldn't it? So what headers actually are is to do with a new concept on the internet known as semantic web. I won't go into too much detail. The basic idea is when Google is looking through all the websites on the internet and choosing how to put them on its search engine, when it reaches the site, it will look for things like header tags, and it will use those as more keywords. So when you're searching for something, instead of having to search the entire page, it will search the headers first, because they're like the keywords. They're like sort of they're very important to the page. So don't use headers for big writing. If you want big writing, use CSS. Use headers for the important things like titles. If you're just going to have like a sentence which has a big word in it, don't make it a header. Again, when we get to CSS, I'll show you how to do that the proper way. But for now, keep the headers purely for the titles of pages and subtitles and things. Don't put them in the middle of sentences, they will look horrible. Anyway, once you've written this up, you know, you've written it in Notepad or whatever you're using to write it in. I would advise Notepad. All you need to do is go and do as I've done, save it as whatever you want. Put .html at the end, change it to save as type all files, save it, yep, I'll replace it, and then here we go, there's my file there, Ryan Sucks, I've just saved, and you open it, and there's your website. That's literally all there is to web design. Well, I say it's all there is, it's the very basics of web design. What you've got there, that is a website. It's not on the internet yet, that's a bit more advanced. At the moment I'm teaching you how to make websites, not how to put them on the internet. But what you've made is a website, just not one that people can access on the internet yet. You can access it, obviously, it's on your computer, but that's as far as it goes. Once you've learned how to make websites, I will teach you how to put them on the internet. That's another story, though. So for now, that's pretty much it. I think that was a pretty good tutorial. It was probably confusing as hell. I mean, I was confusing myself through most of that. I probably confused Ryan. I reckon he's sitting there holding his head, just screaming right now. But hopefully you won't be in that state right now. You know, that's something very specific to Ryan. I think he's got problems. You know, there's quite a few things wrong with him. I can't bother to list them here. But yeah, that's basically it. See you in the next video.
She got a super glue thick smile. It looks like a reptile. Looking the other way. She's married to Mr.